News Africana.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Africana on KU 92.7 FM Benin City. First, the headlines. Exiled former Ivorian President Gbagbo to return to country. President Trump orders withdrawal of U.S. troops from Somalia. Moroccan police arrest 3 suspected terrorists. Details of these and more after this break. I am Godslov Orlando. And now the news in details. The former president of Ivory Coast, Laurent Gbagbo, has been issued an Ivorian passport enabling him to return home from exile. He has been living in Belgium since he was acquitted last year of war crimes charges at the International Criminal Court. Gbagbo, who was given regular and diplomatic passports, says he will return to Ivory Coast this month. He has been a vocal critic of President Alassane Ouattara, who was recently elected for a controversial third term, sparking political violence. In Mali, one of the key figures behind the August 18 coup has been chosen for a top post despite concern over the military's continued influence in the country. Colonel Malik Diaw was unanimously elected to lead the interim legislative body, the National Transition Council. One of the country's main opposition groups is boycotting the body. The opposition group known as the June 5th Movement organized massive street protest against Ibrahim Keita, who was ousted from power. Diaw was the only candidate in the running to head the 121-member body. He also played a key role in negotiations with the West African region body ECOWAS, which imposed sanctions on Mali after the military takeover. The sanctions were finally lifted in October. Mali is facing huge economic problems while also battling an intense Islamist insurgency. Thousands of French, African and UN troops have been sent to the country to tackle the militants. The United States Pentagon said President Donald Trump has ordered the withdrawal of nearly all U.S. troops from Somalia by January 15. The U.S. has about 700 troops in the country helping local forces battle al-Shabaab and Islamic State militants. U.S. officials said some of the troops would move to neighboring countries, allowing for cross-border operations. In recent months, President Trump has issued similar orders to reduce U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan. He has long called for the U.S. troops to come home and has criticized U.S. military interventions for being costly and ineffective. In Algeria, a senior health official in the country said vaccine against coronavirus will be rolled out free for all Algerians starting in a month's time. The president of the National Agency for Health Security told newsmen in the eastern province of Sétif that having the vaccine will not be mandatory. It is not known which vaccine Algeria has opted for, but the health official said the country would not acquire a vaccine unless it is approved by the World Health Organization. The health officer added that international flights from and to the country would not resume until the vaccination had started. And now we move to Uganda, where the country's police say they regret the recent altercation that led to some of them firing live bullets that killed more than 50 people during the demonstration against the arrest of Robert Kyagulanyi, well known as Bobby Wine. The director of police in charge of operations, Edward Ocham, said the firing of live bullets to disperse crowds was uncalled for, stating that police officers could have used tear gas instead. Kyagulanyi, who was later released, was arrested in eastern Uganda on November 18 for allegedly contravening electoral guidelines which require candidates not to have more than 200 supporters at a rally so as to curb the spread of COVID-19, according to the police. The police defended their action by claiming that the opposition were in the breach of laid-down measures to curb the spread of coronavirus. In Morocco, where the Moroccan police on Friday said they had arrested 3 men in a northern city suspected of terrorist plots and links to the Islamic State group. According to the Central Bureau of Judicial Investigations, the men had taped a video in which they pledged allegiance to the supposed emir of the Islamic State. In the video, the men had also specified the main objectives of their terrorist plans. The statement said the suspects had already conducted several visits to identify their targets, adding that they intended to attack with explosives. Items seized were chemicals used to make explosive devices, an Islamic State banner, and several firearms. The suspects were aged between 21 to 38 years old. And that's the news, but before we go, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. On the news, we told you that the exiled former Ivorian president Gbagbo is to return to the country soon. President Trump has ordered withdrawal of U.S. troops from Somalia. And finally, on News Africana, Moroccan police have arrested 3 suspected terrorists. Please remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget, you can listen to us anywhere in the world, either by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our KU mobile app from the Google Play Store. Remember, we're also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can listen to us on radiogarden.com. News Africana was produced by Blessing Asekume.